ships, planes, trucks and trains. Every year they are used to take more than 20 million consignments of radioactive material to destinations all over the world. Places where it is urgently needed. For generating power, for diagnostic and therapeutic uses in medicine, in industry, research, manufacturing, agriculture, minerals exploration and in and around our homes. Radioactive material makes our lives easier, better, safer and healthier. The movement of radioactive material has an excellent safety record. That's because of the care taken by those sending the packages, the carriers delivering them, the package recipients, and the stringent regulation provided both at the global level by the International Atomic Energy Agency and nationally by member states. This is one of a series of short videos produced by the IAEA about the essential aspects of the safe transport of radioactive material. It's about the international regulatory framework, the principles, standards, rules and laws designed to ensure the highest possible standards of transport safety. In the 1950s, the increasingly widespread use of radioactive material in industry, manufacturing, research, agriculture and medicine led to the recognition that its transport needed to be properly regulated. In 1961, the IAEA published its regulations for the safe transport of radioactive material. This was the starting point for a stringent regulatory regime that has been constantly updated and reviewed.
For transport of radioactive material, it is an international activity, and there are international rules and regulations for the transport of radioactive material, primarily focused on safety. The IAEA puts forth a set of regulations for radioactive material transport. These are adopted by the various member states of the IAEA, and then the implementation of those regulations takes place in the various countries.
The main objective of the regulations is to protect people, property and the environment against the direct and indirect effects of radiation during transport. And they cover matters including the training of personnel, the containment of the radioactive contents, the control of the external radiation level, the prevention of a chain reaction, and the prevention of damage caused by heat. Marking, labelling, accident and emergency response, and so on. They are comprehensive. These international standards for the transport of radioactive material are recognised by the IAEA member states and incorporated into their own regulations, overseen by bodies like the United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the French Autorité de Sûreté Nucléaire, the Swiss Federal Nuclear Safety Inspectorate, the United Kingdom's Office for Nuclear Regulation, the Nuclear Regulation Authority in Japan, the China Atomic Energy Authority, and the Ministry for Atomic Energy of the Russian Federation, Maritime. Similarly, the United Nations recommendations on the transport of dangerous goods reflect the IAEA standards, as do those applying to each mode or type of transport, as issued by various other international or regional bodies. So sea transport is regulated by the International Maritime Organization through the International Maritime Dangerous Goods Code. This concerns itself with such matters as packaging and container stowage and the segregation of incompatible substances. The International Maritime Organization also established the International Code for the Safe Carriage of Packaged Irradiated Nuclear Fuel, plutonium and high-level radioactive wastes in flasks on board ships to complement the IAEA regulations. Air transport is regulated by the International Civil Aviation Organization. Its technical instructions cover requirements for packing, marking, labelling and documentation that harmonise with those of the IAEA. Similarly, the International Air Transport Association produces dangerous goods regulations consistent with those of the International Civil Aviation Organization. The transport of radioactive material by road is regulated in Europe by the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, UNECE, in the European Agreement concerning the international carriage of dangerous goods by road, known as ADR. The Intergovernmental Organization for International Carriage by Rail, OTIF, is responsible for the regulations concerning the international carriage of dangerous goods by rail, RID. Other means of transport for radioactive materials include inland waterways, like the Rhine, Danube, Volga, and the Great Lakes system in North America, and the international postal system. European waterways are regulated through the UNECE by international carriage of dangerous goods by inland waterways, and the postal system by the Universal Postal Convention, issued by the Universal Postal Union. Both have been derived from the IAEA regulations. All this adds up to a stringent regulatory framework that covers comprehensively all the ways in which radioactive materials are transported, meaning that if it moves, that movement is regulated, assured and controlled. And all this emanates from the IAEA.
Here at the International Atomic Energy Agency, we are responsible, the only establishment responsible, to set out the regulatory requirements for the safety of transporting radioactive material. Wherever you see in the world radioactive material being transported, the requirements that cover that operation will be in accordance, will comply with the requirements that we set out here in the agency.
To find out more about the safe transport of radioactive material, visit our website at goto.iaea.org/transport safety. It's also worth looking at the 9 companion films in this series. Together, they're a great introduction to the hows, whys, and wherefores of the transport of these vital goods.